Welcome to Childcare Rockstar Radio. I am your host, Kris Murray. Childcare leaders around the globe are breaking through challenges, leading the way in innovation, testing new best practices, and impacting children and families in a much more powerful and positive way than ever before. Each week, join me for interviews with early childhood leaders and experts that will leave you inspired to become the next childcare rockstar. Now, let's go. This is episode 177 of Childcare Rockstar Radio, featuring Nancy and Rick Kodama. I'm really glad that you're back with me on this special episode of Childcare Rockstar Radio. Nancy and Rick are two gems, husband-wife team based near and around Houston, Texas, with their school, Kids World Learning Center. And I'm very excited to have you sit in on this episode. It's a very heartfelt episode with a lot of sharing of personal stories and a journey that started out in pizza sauce, of all things. Rick and Nancy separately owned Domino's pizza franchises. They were both franchisees before they met and met through the Domino's system and fell in love and got married 30-something years ago. And they share the story of being business owners for over 3 decades, transitioning from pizza to childcare. And maybe I should have named this episode just that, but I named it Confident Leadership and a Strong Marriage because Nancy in particular, who's really running the operations day-to-day of the school and with Rick by her side, talks about her journey in becoming a much more confident leader through coaching and mentorship and through the relationships that she's built in the industry. So this is a great one to listen to if you are feeling like you could use some tips and some inspiration in and around your leadership capabilities and confidence. Also, from a husband-wife team perspective, what are the things that keep their marriage strong and enabling them to own businesses together, as well as raise 4 fantastic sons? So the story of all that and much more straight ahead here on the podcast. We are into late May 2024, if you're listening to this real time. And I am just getting back from an incredible experience that I haven't experienced yet in South America. So one of my goals that I set last year for myself, having created more time and space in my life, as you may or may not know, I'm working part-time, still doing the podcast, acting as the founder, speaker, coach, and trainer in the Childcare Success Company, no longer CEO, running the day-to-day and able to travel more. And so as a result, I set a goal for myself to visit all 7 continents, following in the footsteps of my friend Julie Roy. Don't know if I'll make it to Antarctica, but I'm pretty sure I'll make it to the rest. And most notably, as this podcast releases, I will be in the jungles of the Amazon in Ecuador and spending time with 2 indigenous cultures through the Pachamama Alliance and relationships with that incredible organization that raises money and brings trips into little known places, little visited places by non-indigenous people. And I'm very excited to be one of the few humans going in to spend time and learn from these tribes, these indigenous people. Not sure tribe is the right word, but really excited to be exposed to new cultures and learning new ways of being and living in and amongst nature and animals and the headwaters of the Amazon, which is a sacred place on our planet. Some people call it the mother of our planet. It's the place where the wild things are. And I'm excited to go have that experience. So when I come back, I will definitely be sharing with you on future podcast episodes what that has been like. I know that May is a very stressful time, can be, for childcare owners and leaders, because there's 17,000 things to do, including graduations and parties and getting ready for summer camp, changing out your classrooms, potentially seasonally, by age groups, hiring, letting go, talking to parents, registering for summer, all those things. And I know if you're listening to this in May, I salute you for taking the time out from your busy, busy life and spending 45 minutes with me today, 55 minutes here on the podcast. So we're going to dive straight in because I know you are busy. Without any further ado, I cannot wait for you to experience the amazing story of Nancy and Rick Kodama, our friends from Kids World and members of the Child Care Success Academy since 2019. You're going to love these two, just like we all do. Let's go. Enjoy it. Welcome back to the podcast, y'all. I am very excited to introduce you today to Rick and Nancy Kodama. Guys, how are you today? What's going on?
We're good. How are you, Kris?
Great. Glad to be here.
Good. Glad to have you. Where are you joining me from? Where are you located right now?
We're in our office at our Kids World Learning Center childcare in Houston, Texas.
Very good. I think you guys have had some weather lately, yes? In Houston?
Oh, yes. Quite a bit of rain, but thankfully everything's fine here at the center. So we're continuing on.
Good, good, good. Well, it's snowing here in Colorado, so at least you don't have that.
Nice.
Nothing like an early May snow. I don't like it. I'm not psyched about it. But anyways, I digress. We're here to learn about you today. So tell us more about your early learning business. Where you guys you said where you're located. What is the size of your center and number of locations, if you haven't mentioned that yet? And what's the brand name? Oh, Kids World Learning Center. You said that already. So I'm already backing up and asking you things you've already answered. So moving on, tell us more about when you got started and a little bit more about your school. Like, what was the vision when you got started?
So we started in 2012, and we are in Houston, Texas, right adjacent to Cypress, Texas. Our capacity is 262. Our building size is 12,000 square feet. We have 9 classrooms, and we're about, for the ratio is 262, but probably hold about 200 comfortably. So we're about 75% capacity based on that.
Okay.
Our vision for our school is to have more children, serve more children in our community.
And did you guys always work together as a husband-wife team, or is this something? Tell me more about each of your roles within the organization and how it may have changed over the years.
So we have worked together since we have been married. We've been married nearly 30 years.
Wow.
30, not 30 years. It's 31 years this June. And we have had a previous business. Should I launch into that? Our previous business was Domino's Pizza franchise in Southern California, Los Angeles, Hollywood area. And we had 5 locations. I was a franchisee. Rick was a franchisee. I had 1 location. So we had 2. We merged the 3 when we got married. We met before. We were franchisees before we got married. And then together we purchased 2 more, which we had 5 altogether. And we did that. Rick did Domino's Pizza for nearly 30 years, and I did for 25. And we always worked together. We have our own lanes. In Domino's Pizza, he did operations. I did the finance. I was behind the scenes. He was in the front of the scene. Now in childcare, I do operations. He's the dash guy. So plumber dash, bus driver dash, whatever, food order person, whatever that needs to be done. So I do merely operations and the finance, and then he does everything else. And we just pretty much, we have defined jobs where it's okay, you need to go to Rick for this, or you need to go to Nancy for this.
Right.
I'm just here to support her any way I can.
Always.
Spoken like an excellent husband that you are, Rick. I did not know about the Domino's background. This is fascinating to me. Did you guys own your franchises during this time when Domino's was known for one of the top unique selling propositions in the world, which was delivered within 30 minutes to your door, fresh and hot, or it's free? Yes? Were you guys part of that?
Man,
Yeah.
we were.
That's like one of the, being a marketer and having studied marketing and unique selling propositions and all of that. That's something that took the world by storm and really helped Domino's become a worldwide brand.
Made us stand out.
Elevated you guys. Yeah, it's awesome. So I love that. And you met while you were both Domino's franchisees. That's a very cool story. Do you guys have kids?
We do. We have 4 amazing boys. We have 29, 28, 25, and 22. The youngest is graduating this Friday, a couple days from now, on May 10th. He's graduating Texas A&M and with a degree in engineer systems, a systems engineer with a minor in cybersecurity. So we're super proud of all the boys, super proud of him. He finished in 4 years, the others did not. And just amazing kid. But the other 2, there's 4. The oldest, he has a degree in MIS, Management Information System. He's never used it. He graduated and he is doing real estate. And then my second oldest is computer science. And then my third son studied business and he is doing real estate. So 2 of them live together. They're doing real estate on the wholesale side. And one's computer science and the youngest one graduating. All good boys.
Well,
I mean, there's times it wasn't easy, just
of
like
course.
typical teenagers.
Yeah.
We all got through it, and now it's the next chapter in our life. Yeah, I'm so.
You know
excited
what's
for all of them.
one of the most exciting things about what you just shared is that all of your boys are almost off the payroll. This is very exciting.
They are almost. Yeah,
We're
this
gonna
Friday.
we're gonna celebrate that when I see you next. Either when I see you in Costa Rica or Denver, I'm going to celebrate that with you because that's big. That's big. I love that for you guys. I also didn't know you were a four boy mom like Donna Jensen, like Coach Donna. That's awesome. Lots of
people have 4 kids.
Yeah, lots of testosterone in that household, Rick. That's awesome. Cool. I'm learning all sorts of.
On me.
Yeah, exactly.
They always pick on me. The girl. Yeah.
Yes.
Mom, you don't get it. You just don't get it. I grew up in a house full of girls. I don't get boys, but I had to learn pretty quick, and boys are pretty awesome. They are.
Yeah, they are.
Simple.
That's
just simple.
Yeah. They're not as complicated as the females, usually.
They are not.
Which is nice.
Yeah.
Cool. I love that for you guys. I'm learning all sorts of good hidden secrets about the Kodamas today. I love this. Cool. So was having 4 children part of because you guys were still working in Domino's while you were having a young family, and I'm like picturing all of this happening in the Kodama household. Was that part of the inspiration for you to get into early childhood education and own a childcare business, is because you had the little kids at that time, or was that not part of the reason why?
Yes. So how we got into childcare is my parents in the 90s, they opened up a franchise, the first franchise in Houston, and they built one. And then my sister, a few years after that, opened up the same franchise. And then a few years later than that, my other sister opened up a school, non-franchise. And then my dad's always asked us to come back to Houston. All my family's here. Rick's family's all in California. I have extended family in California, but my immediate family is in Houston. He's always wanted us all together. And it was, what was the financial crash, the mortgage financial crash?
2008.
2008 is when things were just getting rough. Having 5 locations, it was just not enough to sustain a supervisor. So it's either grow or go. And at that point, you just have franchisees who, like most of our friends, own 50, 80, 100 locations. Five
Wow.
seems like a lot, but it really is not a lot.
Mm-hmm.
So it was to grow. Franchises were getting a lot more expensive. Cost of business was higher. Just not a employer friendly state in California. So then I turned to my dad and he said, "Hey, let's open up a childcare." And so he's my number one supporter. He's, I look up to him. He's a businessman since I could remember. And so he helped us out. He was very instrumental in that, in terms of the physical part of it. It was our finances, but he helped us find some land. We found about 10 acres and divided it. And he had all the prints, and because he had built already 3 of them, or was part of the 3 projects. My dad wouldn't do it any other way. I mean, anything for his girls. I'm the youngest of 3 girls. And so he said, "Come on, let's do it." I looked at Rick and I said, "What do you think?" And I pretty much believed that it had to be his decision, because I don't want to be responsible for uplifting or uprooting our family and bringing them to another state. And so long and hard, he just said, "Okay, let's do it." It was probably one of the scariest moments in our life. For me, I know it was, because I didn't know anything about childcare. I was a pizza girl, selling pizzas was my thing for 25 years. That's the 3rd job I've ever had in my life. And I'm thinking, this is my world. Like, we have pizza sauce in our veins. That's what we say as, pizza makers. So we put our big panties on, big girl panties, big boy panties, and we're like, "Okay, let's do this." And we did it. And we rocked it since day one, and we had waiting lists, and we did it. And right now we're 12 years in, and it'll be 12 years end of this month. And we look back and we're like, "Gosh, we left California 13 years ago, and time flies." Yeah. And I wouldn't look back. I mean, I love it. We went from working literally 365 days a year to not working nights, not working, weekends. Our previous life, we worked every awakened moment, because we open, you got to be there at 9 or 10, you close at midnight or 1, and then home, sleep. Not like we worked night and day, but when you own a business, you do. So then when people ask me, "How do you spend 12 hours at the childcare?" I said, "That's nothing. Working 6 to 6:30 is nothing, because I got the nights off. It's closed. I don't have to worry. I got the weekends off. I got the holidays off. And I really enjoy what I'm doing, hanging out with little people all day long. It's a dream. I mean, just making a difference in their lives is just watching them grow, and the growth that they have, and watching them learn. And it's amazing, and it's a relationship business, unlike what we had before was just transactional.
That's right.
And yeah, through that, I've learned so much as well. Just the relationship end of it, which is awesome. Yeah.
This business is much more gratifying for us because we're impacting a lot of families and little lives. So it's just more heartwarming for us.
Yeah, I always say about Childcare Success Company when I'm talking to folks that it's not a transactional business, it's a transformation business. And that's what you guys have as well, I feel, which is so rewarding. However, I will mention that we have something in common with regards to pizza sauce, because one of my very first jobs in my career in college is I delivered pizzas. So
Really?
Wow.
yeah. That's a little known fun fact about Kris Murray is, I probably for a year, maybe a year and a half, I made good money running around town delivering pizzas in my Chevy Cavalier. Yep. That car was a
So
piece of
fun, isn't it?
that car was a piece of crap. But other than that, it was a good experience. Yeah, it was fun. It was fun. I made good money.
We
So
loved it.
anyway.
Yeah, we loved it. We loved, I love making pizza, entered the fastest pizza making contest, and it's just so much fun. It's just a lot of energy, and I loved it. But, you know, there was a time the time came, we just had to say, time to move on. And for us to be able to be in business for that long is pretty amazing.
Well, and I think also what you said about having a little bit more of a balance in your life, work-life balance, being able to be home more for your boys, have the weekends. I'm sure they were doing sports, being able to do things with them on the weekends and have your evenings, and have a life. And also, of course, have this transformational business for young children. So, and families. So I love all of that for you guys. What is something that you want to share in terms of your fun facts? Is there anything that not that many people know about you other than the pizza component, but what else would you like to share? Maybe something on the personal side that's a fun fact.
The size, you mentioned the size of my family, my extended family.
Okay.
I come from a farming family. And so my father was one of 10 siblings. And so that ballooned out into, I have about 150 relatives in California
Wow.
and around. So
Uh-huh. And so I bet you guys,
that's a fun.
did you have a big wedding with all those relatives, or did you elope to
Oh,
escape it?
no, we had the whole big wedding, and one side of the church had like a couple hundred people, and her side of the church had like 50 people. It was a little lopsided. But
A little more than I did have friends, but yeah.
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. I
but
mean,
family.
Yeah. Cool. Well, I love that for you guys.
I even offered her, you can edit this however you want, but her father is very traditional. So he wanted to pay for the wedding. And I told him, I have a lot of family. And so I wanted to pay for part of the wedding or half of the wedding, but he refused. He, like, I insulted him by even offering.
Uh-huh.
It was funny.
well, my dad's the type that when we go to dinner, how dare you offer to pay? He gets really mad. Yeah. And Rick will sneak
Right.
off and pay sometimes. And oh my God, he gets so mad. So yeah. He's just that's just who he is. He's Papa Dad. I don't know. Papa Son you. I don't know.
That's awesome. I love that. Let's talk about your team and your leadership. I want to talk about your school culture and just share with me a little bit about your leadership style. How did you guys come in being brand new to the world of early learning and childcare? What have you learned over the years about leading an empowered team? How have you gotten better as a leader? Kind of what are your go-to strategies around leadership? Just share anything with regards to that.
Well, in terms of my leadership style is I do not like to micromanage. However, sometimes I do it's hard to let go. But once I do, I just let them do their thing. They know their lane, they know the assignment, and I trust they get it done. And I verify and, follow up with them.
Mm-hmm.
In terms of my leadership, it's going to sound like a little commercial for CCSA, but your organization has helped me a lot in terms of growing my leadership style and just self growth and just confidence in leadership, just working on my personal growth in return helped my leadership skills, reformed it a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And I think for me, joining Childcare Success Academy has been very good for me in my personal growth, in my personal life, in my childcare world. And we've been a member since 2019, and I've never looked back. It's just one of those things that has worked really well for me. And I would recommend it for anybody. And, people are like, I can't afford to do this. And let me give you a little backstory on how I came to Child Care Success Academy. It was 2019. It was in the fall. And Rick goes, there's a summit happening in Florida. He goes, you got to go. And I said, I looked at him, I can't go because I was literally working all the time. And I was always here just managing and had a director all the time. But he goes, what do you mean you can't go? He goes, you can go. And I said, no, I can't afford the time. And he goes, you can't afford not to go. He goes, you got to go. And I looked at him like, are you sure? I'm going to miss 2-3 days of work. Because usually it's like Thursday, Friday, Saturday, or, a few days with travel and all. He goes, you got to go. I got this. You got to go. So I went. And I was like, wow, he's onto something. And he didn't come with me. He sent me. And he goes, go with your sister, go. So we went and we're like, okay, let's go to Florida, and just kind of like, let's just go to Florida. He's going to take care of work. And so we went and I came back and, got a call from your marketing team and haven't looked back since. I looked at Rick and we're like, okay, so how do we do this? Where do we start? What do we do? And he goes, I knew it. I knew, because I get excited when I get in a room with a lot of people and I know that it's a good formula and it's going to work. And especially in a room with a lot of ladies, because women inspire me more than men. Women inspire me. And I just go, wow, I need this. I've got to do this. And never thought, how am I going to find the time to do this? Where do I start? And I thought, no, it's going to be okay. We're going to do this. And since then, my leadership style has changed tremendously. And I thank you for that. I really do. I really thank you. Yeah.
Thank you. Thanks for sharing that, Nancy. I really appreciate that so much. And that's all authentic sharing. Obviously, I didn't know that you were going to share that. And I'm very grateful that you said that, because so many people listening to this podcast are where you were in 2019 and they're afraid to make the leap. And I really, really need to thank Rick, because he's the one that sent you on the airplane and got you to Orlando. I remember that summit at the Omni. That was an excellence. That was one of our best summits, I feel. And you were there, so that made it really good. So, Rick, I want to ask you now, reflecting back on Nancy's growth transformation since 2019 over the past 5 years. What have you seen in her in terms of her growth? Share a little bit about what your experience has been watching her be part of the Academy and blossoming.
Well, ever since we've joined the tribe, I've seen her confidence just blossom, because she saw other people going through the same struggles and seeing what solutions they had tried. And everyone in the group is very open with sharing what they have done, what has worked, what has not worked. And we weren't, because before we were just kind of on our own little island and agonizing over every little decision, if that was the right way to do it, or is there a better way out there somewhere? I don't know. So just being part of the group and getting input from the other childcare owners has really just given her so much more confidence, and it shows in how she interacts with the families, and also how she interacts with the staff. It's just much more confident, and it just makes everybody want to follow a leader who's confident.
I love that. Thanks for sharing that. Let's talk a little bit about, in terms of being a husband-wife team, it can be challenging, but you guys have worked together, it sounds like, close to the full 30 years that you've been together, whether it was in Domino's or in childcare. So it must work for you in terms of you've got specific roles, you're not crossing. Has it been an evolution? What have you learned being a husband-wife team? What are maybe talk about maybe a challenge that you had and how you overcame it? Or anything else that you want to share, especially because there's a lot of husband-wife teams in this industry, and people can learn from what's going well for you, what's working. How do you make it work? So just share a little bit more, if you would, about that.
I think we have our specific areas that we're good at. And it all starts from having a good relationship, having good communication skills, which we always had. And it also comes from respecting one another, because if we don't respect one another, then that becomes a challenge in itself. And I think being married nearly 31 years and being together almost probably like 35 years, we get each other's cues. So there's times when, and I've done this. I haven't done this in a while, but I've done it where I get frustrated at somebody, and he comes in the room and I just lash out at him. And we've all done this, and we lash out, and he'll go, "Oh, okay," in his head, and he'll walk away. And then later I'll go, "Oh my God." And the key thing is always apologizing if you've done something wrong. And I do recognize it sometimes, or he would, and I just go, "I'm sorry I did that. That wasn't geared towards you." He goes, "I know." I said, "Let me just lay it out for you. This is what happened before, and you just came in and you were my punching bag at the moment." So, and apologizing, that helps. The hardest thing probably is that we never shut off. And now that the kids are gone, even more so, I just want to just stop. I want to end time. I just want to stop. But there's times that he wants to discuss something, I want to discuss something, and we just don't know when. So there's times when I would just go, "I'm tired. I can't do this anymore today." And there's times he'll get frustrated with me. And sometimes he'll go, "Okay." But when he wants to talk about it, then he gets real frustrated. And I'm just like, "Oh, I shouldn't have said that, because now he's going to be mad and go to bed angry." But just respecting one another, understanding one another, communicating, and knowing when to apologize is the key thing. And never go to bed angry, because at the end of the day, especially now that the kids aren't there, I have one that still lives with me, and the youngest one, he'll come home for a little bit until he gets his job and what have you, feet planted somewhere, which is probably Dallas with his girlfriend. But now we really have to love one another and like one another. There's always love there, but there's sometimes they're like, "Oh, please, can you just stop?" But we have to like one another. So it's a different chapter in our life, and
Yeah.
it's all good. I think it's probably the best it's ever been. I don't know if you agree, but I think it's the best it's ever been, because um, children do add stress, right? And right now we're at kind of, I want to say, the free and clear of that stress. And we're in a good place in our life right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. But when we're younger and the kids were younger, it has not always been easy, because you got a child acting up, and they're great now, but they were not always perfect. You always have one out of, there's always something going on, one, there's so many numerous things. And you have, raised kids or raising kids, you totally can relate that it's never always perfect, especially with 4 kids in the house, and you got a mom who's neurotic and wants everything perfect in its place. And it took me to have 4 kids to realize, okay, the house can't always be perfect. You got to let go, and that brought me some sanity. But that's my, what I have to input for that. I don't know if you have anything, Rick.
I think the key for us is that we need to turn it off when we get home, and just relax, unwind, and recharge for the next day, because we're back here the next day. Got to put on a smile and talk to parents, talk to staff, and show them that we care and we know what we're doing.
100%. And I can tell that Nancy's a little bit more of the structured, tightly wound one, and Rick is more of the relaxed, jovial partner in the relationship.
Always.
And having also hung out with you guys quite a bit socially on the cruise and stuff. And I love that you always come to the meetings and you always dress up for the fun theme events that we have, and you're always in, you're 100% in, all in, and having fun together and working together, raising family together. So I love it.
That's who I am. I'm all in or nothing.
Nice.
Literally, I am 100% in or nothing.
Yeah.
And when I'm all in, I get that's it. That's my world. And Rick, sometimes it's hard for Rick because that's what I was brought up in. So when he really got to know my dad, he goes, "Oh my God, I totally get you now." I'm like, "What do you mean?" He goes, "That's your dad." He goes, "You're a product of your environment." He goes, "That's your dad." My dad is 86 right now and still going. Him and my mom is 85. They're 1 year apart. And they're on a cruise right now with my sister. And yeah, so he is nonstop. He is
Right.
nonstop.
Go,
His
go.
mind is sharp as a tack. Sometimes his body slows him down, but his mind is nonstop. And he goes, "That is you." He goes, "Oh my God." And I'm like, "Yeah, that's all I know. I don't know life any other way." Where his parents are wonderful. His dad is deceased, 2007. His mom is still living in Southern California. She is 95, and they're the best people. They are just the nicest, warmest, but a lot more mellow than my family. A
Right.
lot more, yeah, a lot more mellow because my parents are get it done. You know, he's the one who always taught me, if you're on time, you're late. If you're early, you're on time.
Right.
He's the one who'll show up at a restaurant when you tell him 6 o'clock. He'll be there at 5:45 and call us and go, "Where are you?" We're like, "Dad, we're coming. We're on our way. We're supposed to be there in 15 minutes. Nope, we're late." You know, yeah. So my dad's very intense, even at his age now. But you know what? I love them both. They're good parents, and I wouldn't pick any other people to be my parents. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, obviously, if he's still getting mad at Rick for secretly covering the check at the restaurant, he's definitely a driven guy. That's awesome. Tell me a little bit more about your free time. Like, are you guys, or not free time, but do you have structure where you also work from a home office or a corporate office? Like, can you get out of the center? How much time are you spending away from the center, or do you just like being there? Both of you.
We like being here. I'm here all the time. I used to have an office at home. I actually we had a partner's desk, and I worked out of my house for the majority of my previous Domino's years. And I had an office here, but never really used it. So I don't want to work at home. I'll do a laptop or what have you. And I do work on weekends because my mind, I just can't shut it off. It's like, okay, what do we need? What do we need to do? And work on whatever I need to do sometimes on the weekends that I can't do here. But I don't have an office at home. I converted my office into a Peloton, just a workout room. So I no longer have an office. And can I get out of here? I probably could. I love being here. Actually, Robin Harris, she's been talking in my ear. She's like, "You need to get an office outside of your center. You're going to get so much done." And when I went to go visit her, because she's not far from me, I went to go see her office. I was like, "Oh my God, I need an office just like this." But I like the fact that I know every single one of my parents' names and all the kids, and I know all my staff. I enjoy that. Someday, hopefully I can remove myself out of the center, but I don't know. I get a lot of good feedback from the parents always. They always say, "I love that you're here all the time. I love that you and Rick are here." So that comforts them. So until I feel a reason to, or we grow to another center, but I'm kind of working on it, but I can't say I'm working on it because I'm not working that hard on it. Yeah, I'm not. Yeah.
If she was, she'd be 100% in.
Yeah.
That's right. That's right. Well, she likes it the way she's got it, and that's cool. But yeah, you saw Robin Harris's office, and she's such a beautiful soul, and her space that she said, everything that she has, like, is designed beautifully. Like, she's all about beautiful design, So I love that.
She's incredible.
She's incredible. And shout out to her and to Kashani. They've both been on the podcast. Lots of our Texas friends. Texas is the largest number of Child Care Success Academy members are in Texas of any state. So thought I'd drop that little trivia. So we have a lot of
Yeah,
Texas.
thanks to you. Yeah, and thanks to you, we've met a lot of them, a lot of the Texas owners, and stay in touch with them, and met my new friends from Child Care Success Academy, just because we understand each other, and so that has been very helpful as well. But yeah, I love a crowd. I love getting everyone together, and it's always fun. Yeah, it's always like, okay, where are we going? And Jeff and Audrey, Jeff always teases me. He's like, it's 6 degrees separation of Rick and Nancy. They're so fun too.
I love those two. Yeah, you guys are so cute together. Always taking the group photo at the party and all the things, and I love it so much. So let's talk about what makes you the proudest when you look back at your journey, and you have a lot to be proud of. What are some of the things that make you the most proud?
When I first started Domino's, I was inspired by a female as well. It nearly fell on working there, but basically I was dating somebody. I was working at Pete Marwick accounting firm, and I was dating somebody, and he was working as a supervisor, and he got into a motorcycle accident. And so the franchisee, her name was Nancy as well, she asked me to come help her out while he was on leave from the motorcycle accident. And I got into the operations and, helped her run shifts. And so when I saw her, I was like, wow, you can do this. I can do this. So that inspired me. So I worked my way into becoming a franchisee. And I always knew as a little girl I'd make it somehow, because my dad, that's who he's raised. He's always been an entrepreneur all his life. And so I knew I'd always make it. I didn't know how, but I didn't have a roadmap, but I knew that I was going to do it just by having that grit and work ethic that my mom and dad. I have to give my mom credit as well, because behind every great man is a great woman. But but I think what makes me proud is that we were able to grow our Domino's empire. And the scariest moment of our life is to leave that in 2011 and uproot our family and bring them here while they were still in school, and didn't know really if it would work. But I knew it had to work because we had given up so much. Things were going well. We were giving up so much, leaving the community that, I was a big part of as well, and leaving all our friends and family. And the fact that we made it when we made it to Houston, and here we are sitting here 12 years later, and a lot of people who leave the Domino system, there's plenty who have left that have made it, but there's many who left. And we know a couple that it's not easy for them because that's all they knew. And so that makes me proud. And to be able to have my youngest graduate and have 4, successful children and a good marriage, that makes me proud. Yeah. I don't know about you.
Cool. How about you, Rick?
Well, as far as work-wise, career-wise, one of the proudest moments for us, I think, was getting this place open, because this was just raw land, and so we had to build it from dirt and bring in all the utilities and just go through that whole process, which we had never done before. It wasn't just a remodel; it was just bringing in everything, utilities and building the building. So that was a long process, and so it was quite arduous. So that was a proud moment when we finally got to open our doors and get families in.
But let me add to that. What makes me more proud is that it's very heartwarming. And what I really love is that to be running a school and having a building full of children and parents trust us and believe in us, and to have an amazing staff to back that up. Because when we give tours, I say, we're not just watching your babies here, we're teaching them. When I say we're teaching curriculum and all the things that I'm saying that we're going to deliver, I make sure that my staff is going to do that. And that's what's important to me. And my staff just being amazing, they follow through and have a good culture. And thanks to the Academy, have created the core values that they live by. Before then, I don't know how long it would have taken me to create the core values, but it's my coach pushing me, going, you got to do it, you got to do it. And when, one thing about me is if I don't know and I don't know what to do, I just get frozen and I don't do.
Mhm.
So then my coach is like, have your team do it. How about that? And so I was like, what a fantastic idea. So we put up large pieces of paper, like those large Post-its on the, the wall. And we said, what do you think Kids World is? And they came up with our core values. They came up with like 15 of them. We ended up keeping about 7. And then I said, well, why do you think? And so they came up with that. So I can proudly say all our core values have been created by my team. And it's not something Rick and I go, okay, let's just kind of, say we're this and that. No, we didn't. This is what our team came up with. So I'm proud of that as well. So having a good team is the key. And we have that. And, you got 20% of staff that come and go. They're going to be part-time. They're students. Yep. But we got the other 80% that are just great. They're happy and, a joy to be around.
That's great. I love the 80-20 rule, how it shows up in our world and our lives all over the place. And if you can have a core group of 80% of your team be rock solid and collaborative and positive, and that's just great. And I love your core value story, having your team bought into actually being the ones to create it. There's nothing more empowering than having a culture based on core values created by your team. I have to give a shout out to your coach. So which coach were you referring to when you told that story?
That was in, I forget which one it was, but it was, my coaches have been Jennifer Connor, Tamina, Ben, and Jody, because I got Jody twice.
I was going to say Jody. So that sounds like a Jody thing, what you just said, but I don't know who it was. But shout out to all those amazing humans and coaches on the CCSA team. Yes. Love that.
And I love all of them. Yeah, they're all great. They all bring something different to the table, and it's all been good. Yeah.
Very, very cool. Awesome. Well, thank you so much, guys, for being here on the podcast today. My final question for you is, where are you headed for the remainder of 2024? What's on the plate for you, and what are you excited about? What are you looking forward to?
Well, more enrollment and more community involvement. Just doing what we do best here. Yeah.
Cool.
Serving the children and making sure that we're part of the future of this little community that we have.
Well, I love that. And we are currently we're doing all new enrollment bootcamp training videos. We're completely redoing the course from the ground up, which is my signature course. It's been a couple years, so it's very, very exciting. And we're doing an online cohort, a live version So you can put your director or directors or team through it if you guys want to refresh. Let's help you fill up that last 20% of capacity, 25%. There's nothing I would like more than to help you get full to the brim. And looking forward to doing that together. That's coming up in the next month or so. We'll be kicking that off. So we can work on that all summer and then
Awesome.
hopefully
Sign us
yeah.
up.
Yeah. Well, you get it for free. So there you go. Because you're Academy members, but you guys, I want to work with you to make sure you open this fall 100% full. So let's set that as an intention.
That would be awesome. Yes.
Yeah. So that'll happen because we're talking about it now. So you know it's going to happen. I'm spreading magic fairy dust on Kids World right now. I love that.
Thank you, Kris.
You're welcome. So love it and love having you guys in the program. Love working with you. You're so much fun and great couple, great vision, great school. Thanks for being here today. Any other closing thoughts before we say goodbye? Or you want to give your website or give a plug to any of your socials or anything?
Sure. Our website is kidsworldscifair.com, which is kidsworldcyfair.com. And we are in Houston, Texas. And if you're ever in my neighborhood, we'd love for you to come visit anytime.
Awesome. Well, Rick and Nancy Kodama, big hugs to both of you. Thanks so much for being here with me today on Childcare Rockstar Radio. Appreciate you.
Thank you so much, Kris.
Thank you, Kris.
Thank you for everything your team does as well.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Thanks everybody for listening. This is a great story and we'll hit you up next time with more great stories here on the podcast. Take care and God bless everybody. Bye-bye. I hope you liked this episode of Childcare Rockstar Radio. If you did, please leave a review and share it with someone you know to help spread the word to friends in our industry and on social media. Childcare business success is my passion, and I'm honored to be on this journey with you. As a thank you for listening, I've got a new video training that shows you how to add 6 figures or more of new revenue to your program in the next 60 days by improving your hiring and your enrollment systems. To watch my new video, just go to www.fixmyschool.com. That's fixmyschool.com. Thanks. Take care and God bless.